What up, Guru Jojo? And in this particular video, I'm going to be speaking about your intelligence and how that's completely relevant to your ability to take in information and create memories. So I'm going to speak about pretty much like how intelligence works. And it may be more than one video, but for now, I'm going to just start with what I've come to realize. I'm gonna provide a quick example just as like a visual or like just something to relate to better understand it. So why do they call our devices a smartphone, right? The phones we have today, they're called smartphones. Before that, they weren't called smartphones. They were just called like flip phones or like phones or whatever, right? What makes this device smart is that it has the ability to store a lot of information and the ability to quickly recall information. You can literally ask a question to Siri, which is like basically a robot that answers your question pretty much in like 5 seconds or less. In addition to this, you could type anything on Google and it answers your question pretty much immediately, right? You're also able to store conversations, information, notes, applications, phone numbers, photos, videos. The list goes on this small device. So it's smart. So by default, we know that smartness or intelligence is directly connected to data, memory, and information you're holding. Now, if you pick up your little smartphone, right, and you type in Google a question and it says like no internet access, then essentially that means that there's a network cut off. So we know that intelligence has to do with your ability to network information, so you have to have some sort of connection to this information. So the information has to be accessible through some sort of network. In addition to this, we know that it has to do with the ability to take in information and store it in a particular location. So with that being said, we have 3 different types of intelligences. We have that long-term intelligence, we got the short-term intelligence, and we have the working, not intelligence, memory. So my bad, let me say that. So we got long-term memory, short-term memory, working memory. Now, long-term memory is kind of just like your identity. It has more so to do with like your experiences as well as information that's personally related to you. So it's like your personal intelligence because it's things that is personally connected to you. Like you remember your name, maybe your phone number, you remember like how old you are and stuff like that because it's like a long-term memory. You may remember like when you had a vacation, a family reunion or something, because it's like it's personally related to you. Like it could be like a family reunion from like 6 years ago and you still remember that because it was like this is like your timeline memory. Like it's like, you know how back in the day when you took history class, how there was like certain special events and you put them on a timeline. These are your timelined events, so it's personally related to you, so you tend to remember these things. Your short-term memory, on the other hand, has more so to do with your ability to remember like information that's more on a short timely basis. So it's more like your ability to recall information after you've done something else. So to have good like organizational skills, this is more like your practical intelligence. Best example I can give for this is like if I give you a pattern, right? Can you recall that pattern? At what point can't you remember like the pattern because it's too much information to remember? People that have good short-term memory, they have the ability to like kind of hack their brain in a way like they like group the information so that's easier to remember. This is why we create things like acronyms and stuff or songs for stuff to remember. Think of like PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. I suck at math, but I remember the acronym. So it's like these things help us to remember things for short-term memory. If you have like a list, you're going to a grocery store, you want milk, eggs, some cheese, you want some pizza, you want a salad, some tomatoes, and some Lucky Charms cereal. So then like most people would write it down. We usually write things down. Like most people's short-term memory is trash. So we tend to do to-do lists and stuff like that. We schedule ourselves in order for us to remember the things that we have to do in a timely fashion. In addition to this, think of kind of like a waitress, right? A waitress. You ever have like a waiter or waitress that comes up to your table, you order your food and they don't even write it down, but they remembered everything that you said? They are constantly like working with their short-term memory. Like, so they utilize that muscle memory and therefore they're better at that skill, and they've learned how to like group things together or to remember what you ordered. I imagine like people that are waitress and waiters. Now, I've never been one, but I imagine that they kind of like create like a acronym type of thing. Like, let's say you get like a burger, French fries, no salt. They like BFNS. Like in their head, they're like BFNS, like burger, French fries, no salt. I'm assuming that's probably what they do, or they just remember. I don't know. So, anyways, that's how that works. Like, that's how your short-term memory works. It's your practical intelligence. So it's your ability to have memories and be able to sort of like know what comes next. Like it's your ability to prioritize information, in other words. Now, when it comes to your working intelligence, your working memory, this has to do more so with your ability to go with the flow and sort of like take in information as you go, and then know the proper like recall response, and also the ability to transfer information. So it's that memory that's more temporary, because you're either going to be placing it into the short-term memory or the long-term memory. And it's also your ability to just like go with the flow. It's like your fluid intelligence, basically. So this intelligence, it's more intuitive. All right. Now, in another video, I'm going to speak more so about like psychic memory, because this is like a higher extension of working memory. But for now, like working memory is basically just like the ability to just like see things and kind of just remember, like, or hear something, kind of just remember. It's a lot of people with working memory, they didn't really study in school that much. Like they could just go to class and pay attention to the teacher, maybe write some stuff down, and it's like stored in their like short-term working. It can be stored probably like in their short-term memory or something like that, or their long-term memory maybe, but probably their short-term, because they probably only remember it up to the exam. They can kind of just like remember what the teacher said and stuff, so that they can like answer the questions on the test appropriately. Now, those are the three main types of memory, and they're directly connected to intelligences. Like I said, the long-term memory is connected to your personal intelligence. The short-term memory is connected to your practical intelligence, and then your working memory is connected to your fluid intelligence. Now, with that being said, the next step to actually like being intelligent, more so knowledgeable and having wisdom, is the ability to comprehend information as well as apply it to everyday life circumstances, so, or your experiences. So this is the ability to, now you are taking in memories, you're processing them, but you're able to relate it in a way that's going to help you better understand it or comprehend. So in other words, for example, right, let's say that you are very good at math, like you can do addition and subtraction, multiplication, all very well, but let's say that you get a word problem. This is where you have trouble. So this means you have problems like critically thinking and applying that information like in real life circumstances. So for example, like you may know how to do the operation, but you don't know when to utilize the operation. So in a word problem, somebody would have to tell you to, oh, just do addition in this problem, like do addition with this number and that number. And you know what I'm saying? Rather than being able to read the equation, read the word problem, understand the information in the word problem, and then be able to choose the right operation. So you can read the word problem, understand the word problem, choose the proper operation to solve the problem. So if you have an application issue, you have trouble actually like doing that. You need somebody to tell you which operation to use. So that would be like a small example of having like an application issue. Anything's like this, like my tarot readings too. It's like if you have an issue with applying knowledge, tarot readings could be very confusing for you because it's one of those things where you have to learn to apply what was said. So, for example, like recently I did a collective tarot reading on Instagram where I was saying that our society is becoming so lazy that we kind of have created like these limitations for ourselves, and now we're being like kind of replaced by robots and stuff, which is like facts. Now I didn't say it exactly like that, but that's the main idea of what I was trying to say. But it takes a certain level of comprehension to get that's what I was saying. So for example, like if you go to the supermarket, right, there's a self-checkout system, that's a robot. If you utilize like a iHome or an Alexa, that's a robot. Your phone is a robot. They have like the robot vacuums. Over the summer, I saw a goddamn robot lawnmower. Okay, so like now they're not really. I'm not saying people are not hiring people to mow the lawn now or doing it themselves, but they have robot lawnmowers. I've seen it. I don't know how good it works, but that shit was moving and it was mowing the lawn. Now, I imagine that you probably have to brush off the grass or something. I don't know. It was like a small little lawnmower thing, but whatever. Anyways, my point being is that you see how there's like the difference between like reading something and actually like understanding what you've read, and then after understanding it, being able to apply it, to see it like in your own situation. This is what makes people very creative. People that can do this, they're very creative, because they can take like small bits of information and be able to apply it to various things. This makes somebody have a lot of wisdom and knowledge. Astrologically speaking, when it comes to astrology, the zodiac signs that are best at like applying information is going to be Virgos. Can apply things, but they apply things to like smaller concepts and whatnot. Whereas Sagittarius, these people could apply like everything. Like they can apply like a visual memory to a vocal memory to a auditory memory. So you see, like that's the difference. Is like where Virgos are more like they can apply small bits and pieces of information and put it together. Sagittarius can see how something that is seen is the same thing as something that was like heard. And Pisces are like this too. Like, so this is where things become like almost like what they would call like synesthesia. It's like where you could start to like everything is like morphed. So then this is why they're very intelligent. But a lot of people may think that they're like weird or something like that. But it's really just like they have a very morphed sensory system. And this makes them very intelligent people because they can see how everything's connected. So that's what I want to talk about so far in this particular video. It's like really just like a brief video about intelligence and what is intelligence, like really what creates it. And the main thing that creates it is your memories, as well as your ability to comprehend information and thus apply that information to different life circumstances, especially your own particular life. A lot of people are very intelligent and knowledgeable. They have a lot of information. They can apply it to circumstances outside of them, but they cannot apply it to themselves. This is another sort of ignorance. It's like a self-ignorance. There's people who can gain a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and they just cannot apply it really to everyday life circumstances. Like they just don't get it. And this is where I say like practice is what's most important. This is going to help enhance the practical intelligence so that you'll be able to like apply the information to different life circumstances, and this will help to kind of open up that portion of your brain. because these things are very important when it comes to like being able to like be successful in life. You have to kind of be smart. Like if you're too dumb, you will miss like a lot of signs, a lot of information, because you have too much limits in the information that you're able to process and apply. So this is why I was saying in a previous video about spiritual discernment that it's important to start playing games now and like, you know, exercising your mind, because this will help you to be able to access those portions of your brain. So yeah, thank you for watching. Blessings, light, and love to you. Peace out.